With all the franchise TV series coming out right now, this is the one show, C, on Apple TV Plus, season 3, that I decided to review. Don't ask me why. No, I'll explain. I actually feel that there's quite enough people reviewing House of the Dragon already, and there'll definitely be enough people reviewing Andor and the Lord of the Rings show. So to me, this was the most logical one for me to review, because I don't think that there's going to be as many people reviewing it, and I was planning on watching it anyway. So this is just for kicks and giggles. But season 3, the main reasons I watched this show were pretty well satisfied. I like getting to watch Jason Momoa do his very physical, athletic acting during fight scenes, and deliver kind of comical monologues at times. And I really enjoy the amazing cinematography, and it's an interesting concept, an interesting world. There's really good action scenes at times, and there's a lot of good clean violence going on. So all that was here. The plot is stretched pretty thin. The character motivations are kind of I feel like a lot of characters are acting out of character this season. Magra choosing not to kill Queen Cain.
I'm sorry if it takes me a moment to figure out how to best kill my own sister.
Choosing not to turn her over to foster a peace. It didn't make a lot of sense. Lord Harlan and Tamak Jun, I think they're actually pretty well-written characters and well-acted with a lot of nuance. And it becomes really frustrating when you're watching them give Magra just good advice, and she still insists on not turning over her sister. And it doesn't help that I'm just pretty much fed up with the way that Queen Cain has been handled as a villain. She's perfectly odious, so in a sense that makes her a good villain. She's quite hateable, and she has a lot of campy dialogue and other elements, but I find it just frustrating the lengths that the writers will go to keep her alive and in the show, when in real life, or realistically rather, she'd be dead by now. There's no way that she'd be allowed to live. It's also frustrating because I really liked Alfre Woodard. I thought she was doing a marvelous job performing here as Paris. Underutilized, certainly, but, just a welcome presence in the show. And then, her death, it just basically gets a throwaway line this episode.
It was Paris who taught me, and you would do well remembering her name when you ask for sympathy.
There's hardly an emotional reaction to be seen among the characters to the death of Paris. And I found that extremely, extremely frustrating. Toad got more of a send-off in season 2, even though he'd been in the show for far less time. So I found that incredibly frustrating, and I couldn't fathom Magra's reasoning in not killing her sister at this point.
Magra, what are you doing here?
I don't know exactly, but we will not be handing her over today.
Best scene of the episode for me was the scene where Haniwa goes and sees this sighted person basically being lynched because people figure out that he can see, and that she tries to intervene but is unable to. It was really, really brutal and upsetting, and I think that this is the clearest motivation for a character in the show, that she wants to protect innocent people that are being killed and hurt simply for being like her and having the ability to see. And this is something that continues to this day, where people kill people that are different than them, hurt people that are different than them, distrust people that are different than them, blame things on people that are different than them. So it was very upsetting, and I wasn't entirely sure that they weren't going to rescue the person at first, but I think that it was a good decision to not have them be able to rescue the person, because sometimes bad outcomes happen and there's nothing you can do. And I think this sets up strong motivation for Haniwa going forward this season. I also liked the opening action scene with Ren. There was some wonky CGI at parts, and I had to go back to try and figure out what happened when she cut the cord because I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, why would the people fall when she cuts the cord above her? But of course, it's a crane, so the cords are connected. So when she cuts the one, the other slides down. That didn't initially make sense to me, but when I went back, I saw, oh, okay, that's why that happened. It wasn't the most exciting action sequence, the most exciting action opening the show has furnished, but it was pretty good. I think that what they're trying to do with everyone's favorite character, no one's favorite character, Kofun, it could be interesting because he has been a selfish and rather unlikable character a lot of the time. But if he finds higher purpose after his conversation with Lord Harlan in devoting his life to being a father, kind of paralleling Baba Voss's character, it would be interesting to see if he can find a measure of peace and satisfaction in that as a character who for the large part has been kind of aimless in this show. I also thought that the introduction of the new villain was, I'll say, competent. I don't think he's the most memorable villain. I think that, Ido Voss, I thought, had a lot of presence, and I was disappointed that they didn't take the character further along in the story, do more with him. I felt like there was more runway there. And this character, his motivation simply it seems that he's primarily here to get revenge on Baba Voss for killing his brother Ido. And to me, it's not very complex. It's a little underwhelming. So is the introduction of these explosives. I think that the appeal of this show has always been that it was low tech, that the world has retrograded to this place where people are in physical combat. The most exciting moments in the show have been that visceral hand-to-hand combat. So I don't know that we are really going to get that much mileage out of explosions in a show like this. It feels also like something that they're going to have to use plot armor to have Baba Voss survive and get in close hand-to-hand. So from that perspective, I'm not in love with it. I do think that having it show up and immediately destroy an entire army that had been presented up to that point as quite a threat, it does a good job of showing, oh no, this is a game changer. And the fact that it seems to have killed the character of Bo Lion. The show never really seemed to know what to do with her. She was not much of a presence in season 2. Despite the fact that a lot of you really seem to have an affection for this character, the show just didn't seem to know what to do with her, and it seems as though she may have been killed off in this premiere. But that's a good way to establish the threat of this villain, that he is something new and that he actually does pose a threat to Baba Voss. Otherwise, I expressed frustration at the end of season 2 that Baba Voss abandoned his family. It didn't make any sense to me that he would do that. I understand the explanations that the show has given. You don't need to explain to me what they are. I just don't buy them. He's always been a protector of his family, and it's not as if his family is no longer in danger. They very much are. So for him to have run off into the woods like this to wipe excrement on this guy's face, who is this person? I mean, really? It seems out of character again and not very motivated. But we'll see where they take him. It seems like he'll probably end up going back to his family pretty fast over the course of the season. But I wonder if this didn't have more to do with behind-the-scenes stuff, perhaps. I had a similar theory about the death of Paris. I felt like maybe Alfred Woodard wanted off the show. I suspect maybe they just wanted to have, something that made it seem like the status had changed with Baba Voss. And perhaps they also were trying to be protective of Jason Momoa's schedule. He is quite busy saving whales whenever they land on the coast of LA. He has to go quick and make sure that they get rescued and put back in the water. So all in all, it was a decent premiere. There was a lot of exciting moments, interesting scenes, intensity, as this show often has. But narratively, it's far less fruitful than it has been in the past. This feels not really like a wrap-up season. It doesn't seem like they're in a rush to get to the end. So, like I said, I don't know that this is actually a planned exit so much as you get one more season to wrap up. But I'm okay with that. I think that they've explored this world. They've done some interesting things, and it's probably time to bow out. But let me know what you thought. Those are just my thoughts for what they are worth. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this episode. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed anything I had to say. And as always, thanks for watching.